Today's episode is sponsored by Tecovas Cowboy Boots and Western Wear. For the highest quality boots and Western apparel, check out tecovas.com. We want to thank them for their continued support and always delivering the best looking boots on the market.
Every snap is an interview.
After the snap.
What a snap. Hey, keep your mouth shut, 50!
I lead by example.
With Blake and Reed Ferguson, discussing life in, out, and after football.
To be able to leave walking away with a degree and a championship, it couldn't be any better.
Yeah!
Well, you can take this boy out the real south on but you can't take the real south out of my voice. And now here we go again, twist a little bit deep because I got thick skin. You must be selling me some.
Reed, we are back and we are refreshed. We are happy to be here, and what a perfect time to welcome on just a phenomenal interviewee, and how timely it is leading up to the 2023 NFL Draft. We've got obviously Alex Ward coming on shortly, but man, it is good to be back on after the snap. Feels like it's been too long.
I know we took we took about a 4-week break. We recorded the last time, for those of you that listened, it was a little bit like right in the middle of March Madness. We were kind of doing some updates on March Madness. We tweeted out our winners, and I was confused. Obviously, our show, we have listeners, right? We have very loyal listeners, people that download our show every week. We have people that follow us on Instagram and Twitter and stuff. They see the stuff we post. They interact with us. So do you know where I'm going with this?
I know exactly where you're going with this.
So when we post, I'm not getting mad. I'm just wondering. When we post, when we say we're doing a bracket challenge and first place gets tickets to a game, second place gets, I think, a ball, signed football, and then third place gets a signed hat. I guess it feels like something you'd want to pay attention to after it's over and see if you won a prize.
Yeah.
I posted from the podcast account a few times, and I only got the one guy that finished in third place, actually, to hit us back about where he finished. And now he's never heard from the first or second place people. Now he's getting tickets to he said he wanted tickets to the Ferguson Bowl in Buffalo. So
Man,
I'm happy for him, but some people joined the bracket challenge and missed out on some prizes. So I guess sucks to suck. But no, happy to be back. I just had to get that off my chest a little bit. I've been thinking about it. Well, because I was messaging the guy the other day. I was like, which game do you want to go to? And then finally, a couple people chimed in and said that they were like 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th place. So I bumped them up to get the other prizes, obviously. But no, I mean we got the draft this weekend. Super excited. I can't speak for you. I love watching the draft. We've watched it. I mean, we would watch it every year growing up, keeping up with our favorite teams. Normally, we'd only watch like the Thursday night, but as I've gotten older and started, once we got to college, started, knowing guys that we played with that were get a chance to get drafted, started paying more attention to just past Thursday on into Friday and obviously Saturday when there's 4 rounds. So it'll be super exciting to watch on Saturday or on this weekend, but mainly for Saturday because, as you may know, this is a podcast by long snappers for long snappers, but we are friends of specialists of all kinds. So wanted to hit a little bit on some of the top guys coming out at the 3 specialist positions for this weekend, just because there's been a lot of chatter, honestly, from what I've seen in the specialist world about a few teams that still don't have specialists at 1, 2, or even 3 positions. Looking at you, LA Rams. So I think I wanted to do didn't want to do a disservice to some of these guys and kind of spread the word and bring some knowledge to our listeners going into this weekend for those of you that will watch into Saturday's draft coverage. So, Blake, did you have I didn't know if you had anything to add before we jumped in.
Oh, let's get into it.
All right, so hopping into first position, obviously wanted to save the best for last. So we're doing long snappers third. So we'll start off with the punters. Kid named Adam Korsak. I hope I'm saying that right. Out of Rutgers. He is ranked the number 1 guy coming out at the punter position. He was the Ray Guy Award winner last year, and he set the single season NCAA record for net punting average at 45 yards.
That's strong.
Which is very impressive considering you're kicking that football.
I wonder what I feel like Braden Mann had that our senior year. I know he had like the total punting yardage record, but I feel like he also had single season net record. But that's pretty wild. And yeah, the kid's gonna have a real shot somewhere.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing is about records is that they can be set each year. So all
right,
moving on to
this will be my last episode of After the Snap ever.
Moving on to the second ranked punter coming out, Bryce Behringer from Michigan State, who you will hear later in our interview from Alex, is actually a +1 handicap golfer, which, if you don't know, that means he golfs better than par by a stroke each time he plays golf. So that is insanely impressive for a guy that picked up football as his college sport instead of golf. But
he doesn't need the handicap. The handicap
definitely. Him. That's right. That's absolutely right. Bryce was the first team All-American, and he had the 6th highest career average for total yards at 46. So as I mentioned earlier, just hearing some buzz around the league. It's going to be an interesting year to watch the punters, I think, because there are a handful of teams that don't have them and are waiting on the draft to see. So you might see a few of those punters shoot up some draft boards early Saturday in the 4th and 5th rounds. So be interesting to look at those.
I feel like if it's anything like last year, there are going to be a ton of specialists go off the board quick. Last year, you sort of saw the dominoes started falling, and I mean that's how it is with a lot of different positions because of the limited availability of high quality players at certain positions, specialists included. And I feel like that it'll be similar where you'll start seeing guys go off the board in the 4th and the 5th rounds, and it's just like just running it up. Hopefully that is the case for all these guys because we want to see them all have really good shots.
Absolutely. Jumping into the kickers, Jake Moody is the number 1 ranked guy coming out of Michigan. He's 2-time Lou Groza Award finalist for the best kicker in college football. And if you remember from watching the college football playoff semifinal, he kicked a 59-yard field goal in that game against TCU, I believe. Is that right? Michigan, TCU. So pretty impressive. That's a pretty big leg. And I'm sure that will play well wherever he lands. Also tough, kicking up in Michigan, you're playing in some pretty cold weather for a good bit of your college career. So
Good
I'm
prep
sure
for
Jake,
sure.
good prep for Jake. Second guy, second ranked kicker on the board right now is Chad Ryland from Maryland. We've got a Terp on the board. He is 60. He was 60% from 50 plus yards in his college career, and he tied. This is what I think is most impressive. He tied the Big Ten record with 24 consecutive made field goals. And I think when you listen to college football fans, armchair quarterbacks, whatever you want to call them, most people will joke about how bad college kickers are. And it's just a thing, and it's tough to find a good one in college. So when I see a guy that's made 24 kicks in a row, especially, there's a wider range of skills, among holders and snappers, which also, I know they work on it a lot, but it's never going to be as perfect as it might be at the next level. So 24 consecutive made field goals is an impressive feat. I don't really care who you are. So hopping into our long snappers, we've got our guy Alex Ward. He is the number one ranked guy coming out for the draft. This year. Alex was a two-time Patrick Manley Award finalist, given to the best long snapper in college football. And he also participated in the NFL Combine and the Senior Bowl, where you'll hear later, he was the practice player of the week for his team, voted by his teammates, which I thought was pretty impressive. So you'll hear from Alex later, but our second ranked snapper coming out is Chris Stoll from Penn State, who is a pretty big guy. I actually was when I was looking these guys up, jotting my notes down for the podcast. He's like, it's like 6'1" or 6'2", I think, and he's like 250, 260. So he's a pretty big guy, which, if he can move, that's going to play well at the next level. In terms of blocking and getting in some of those bigger linemen getting in their way. So Chris actually won the Patrick Manley Award last year and was the 2022 Big Ten Sportsmanship Award winner. So congrats to Chris.
That is very long snapper-esque.
It is very long
That's
snapper-esque.
like
Congrats to Chris on being just an all-around good
guy. Yeah.
Good guy.
The good guy award, I feel like, is probably better fitting name for that. Also, the long snapper award, like
that's right.
Like it's just, if that award doesn't go to a specialist every year who like has a 4.0 GPA and is just like a good guy, I don't know where it is. So anyway.
One note I thought was interesting: both snappers. The top two guys, Alex and Chris, are both sixth-year seniors. Now, Alex took his COVID year. I'm assuming Chris did also, just given the fact that you can play 4 and then 5 with a red shirt. So unless he got a medical red shirt, maybe to get the 6th year, he might have taken his COVID year. So, but I always think that's interesting. The older you are, obviously, the more mature you are. Which could possibly help in adjusting to the difficulty of the league at this position.
Before we get into our interview with UCF long snapper Alex Ward, I want to share a quick word about today's sponsor, Tecovas Western Apparel and Cowboy Boots. Made by hand, I wore Tecovas boots long before they were ever a sponsor, and we are so proud to partner with them because they're a company that I believe in. They've proven their quality craftsmanship over time, and they're always coming out with new boots and apparel to look your best and feel even better. On this week's episode of After the Snap, we welcome in Alex Ward, long snapper, hopefully future draft pick Two-time Patrick Manley Award finalist. Congratulations, by the way. 2022 UCF Scholar Athlete of the Year. And last but not least, he was voted Practice Player of the Week by his Senior Bowl teammates. Alex Ward, welcome on the pod.
Hey guys, how we doing? Pleasure to be here.
Thanks for joining, man. Appreciate you hopping on with us.
Absolutely.
Let's get right into it. Obviously, draft coming up this weekend. This was something that we had pinned on our calendar. We wanted to get you on and talk to you because we know that this is a big time for you. Obviously, been training for a long time. What does the past few months look like for you as you prep for all of the things that come along with your rookie year and leading up to the draft?
I mean, it's been good. I mean, I knew it was going to be a lot. Guys tell you don't get an off season when you're going, making the step up, and it's pretty much true. I've been working out nonstop, snapping pretty much nonstop. People ask me what I'm doing now. I say picking up heavy stuff, running fast, and throwing balls to my legs. So it's pretty much what I've been doing for the last 4 months, and then get a little hiatus for Senior Bowl, a little bit of combine, and then once pro day came around came and went, I kind of dropped off from 6 days a week to 4 days a week, and got into a manageable pace there.
Yeah,
Nice.
I think that'll help you quite a bit just as you move into this next sort of phase where you've got a lot going on. There's just a lot hitting you at all at the same time with your new coach, with your new workout regimen, with everything. Mentally, it'll be very, very stressful. So it's good that you're able to sort of take a step back and just take a deep breath. You're not crushing yourself every single day of the week. However many months we are out from the football season, but we're still a good ways out, but it is right around the corner. So I think that'll be great for you.
Do you? I see your calendar there behind you on your wall. You got some? I can't see anything on it, but you got some goals written up there.
The only one you need to worry about is draft day right there.
Come on.
There you go.
Come on.
And so I think we're right here. And so it's really close. I got the calendar here in early January, and then filled out. I thought I was going to be more busy with workouts and stuff than I actually was. And so we had heard some rumors or nightmares of people like losing track of workouts. So I bought, 3 foot by 4 foot calendar, put it on the wall, and so I ain't forgetting nothing. So
that's right. As organized as possible.
That reminds me of Blake. He used to write, he used to have like an expo marker and write. Yep. He wrote his goals on his mirror. Yep. I think at the end of college, and then when you were training at my house for the draft.
Yeah, that was something that was super helpful for me, just like your calendar is. I'm sure for you, just to see it every single day when I'm, brushing my teeth, like what am I doing today to get me to where I want to be, come draft day, come week 1, come the end of the season, what do I, want to have done by then? So that's something that has been very helpful for me, and maybe something that you can pick up as well if you're not doing that already.
I do it a little bit. It's in the
Nice.
front of my reminder. It's I have an old buddy of mine that passed away from brain cancer on my phone. I have my lock screen. So every time I open it up, and he outworked all of us. So every time I open it up, it's like, all right, I got to work hard like right now. So
yeah,
it's a great reminder. Talking about your prep for the draft, a few months ago, you played in the Senior Bowl. You were on the American team. Blake mentioned that you were the Practice Player of the Week. Congratulations. Blake also participated in the Senior Bowl a few years ago when he was coming out. I don't know. Were you on the American team also?
Mm-hmm.
I was on the
American. And I was also voted Practice Player of the Week. So kudos to you, brother. Repping for the long snappers.
There you go. What were some of the highlights from that week? We didn't really dive in. Obviously, Blake and I were not doing the podcast at that time. So we haven't really done a deep dive into kind of what that Senior Bowl week is like. What were some of the highlights from that week? And maybe tell us a little bit about talking to a bunch of the coaching staff, because I believe you guys meet with everybody or close to everybody. Is that correct?
Everybody, correct? Everybody. There's formal interviews that happen 2 times a week, and it's 2 4-hour sessions of 16 15-minute interviews, all back to back to back to back. So, you're in a convention center in Mobile, and you and your little pod of guys get just shuttled around to a different team every 15 minutes. And so that gets pretty tiring, but it's being a guy that always wanted to be in the NFL. It's really cool to go around, and I talked to all these different organizations. But highlights of the week were really just like practice. I was lights out. Probably the Senior Bowl is one of the better times I've ever snapped. It was really nice snapping at Duke though, instead of our old Nike ball. But I met Kevin McDermott, the old snapper for the Vikings. He's become like a mentor to me. Whenever I need something, I can reach out to Kevin. So
how's his pinky?
Better, a little short. Yeah, I asked about that too, and he was like, "Yeah," he started showing it to me, and it's
I'll never forget watching that game. We'll never forget it. They showed it on live TV. They showed his pinky.
Yeah.
Question
I got on live TV.
A question I've got from back at the Senior Bowl. Do you remember who your first interview was with?
First interview?
Very first interview.
I don't think so.
The reason I ask, and it's totally like not important, it just was coincidental for me, I think. The Dolphins were my very first interview. I remember we were walking into, they've got like quadrants, right? They still do the quadrants where they've got like
all the portable walls up and
yep. So there's like 8 teams in each quadrant. And is that right? Yeah. 8 teams. I was doing 8 times 4 in my head. And the first one I go into, the Dolphins were one of those 8 teams. And Danny Crossman, who is now my special teams coordinator, was Reed's special teams coordinator for a couple years in Buffalo, was the very first person to come up to me. Literally, we walked in. I'm like, just kind of getting a lay of the land. And he's like first person to come up to me and interview me. So I was going to say, if you had remembered who your first interview was, that you never know, it might, it might turn out to be that team, but
hopefully I had a good enough interview. They remember me.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it definitely is a whirlwind, just like between that and combine and I wasn't, I didn't have my pro day because it was during 2020, but it is a lot to take in all at one time. And, you're just kind of flying by the seat of your pants, which it's great that you've got the calendar, because it can get overwhelming quick. And, it's easy to things, phone numbers in and out of your phone, and you've got random people calling you and texting you and scouts and all these people checking your phone number. And you're like, just trying to keep it all straight is really hard. But,
yep. I'm right in the middle of all that right now.
Yes. So, but believe me, Reed and I know exactly where you've been, and it's overwhelming, but it's a lot of fun. So soak it up while you're in it. But
no, I know you mentioned Kevin McDermott, obviously kind of being a mentor for you. Question is he kind of the only guy, only NFL snapper that you have used as a mentor, have reached out to? And kind of tell me a little bit about maybe what are some difficult things that you may foresee that some guys may have told you along the way for in terms of being a snapper at the NFL level.
I mean, already through just the combine, I had no idea what I was walking into. I didn't know if they're going to pull out brand new balls for, full of resin and say snap 100 times with these, and I'd really have to work on that. Or so I still lean on Cameron Cheeseman and Cal Adamitis. Those are guys I've trained with through college, and so they're a big help. Charlie Hewlett with the Browns is a former UCF player, so I was out playing
Great
golf
guy.
with him last week, and oh yeah, great guy. After golf, we sat eating dinner for, or, I don't know, late lunch, whatever it was. Sat eating for an hour and a half, just talking, snapping, and going through different looks and what they might try to do. So, yes, about an obstacle. Like clearly, I didn't block a pro scheme in high school or in college, but I think I'm getting it down well enough. I'm kind of running myself through mental reps every time I snap, and trying to do what I can to visualize what a front will look like, on Sundays.
Yeah.
I think the obviously popular saying at the NFL level is there's no replacement. Like it's hard to imitate live reps. And it's true. I mean, obviously, I'm speaking for myself, probably speaking for Blake as well. Once you trot out there for your first punt snap in a preseason game in August, they were all telling us, all the rookies in Buffalo in 2016, they were all telling us, it doesn't matter, the biggest game you played in college, that first preseason game is going to feel like bigger than the national championship. And it sort of did, because you obviously, like you mentioned, you sort of don't really know what you're getting yourself into. And like I said, there's no replacement for live reps. So, I guess my one piece of advice would be just take advantage of as many of those live reps you'll get in practice, because that really is the closest thing, going through training camp that you're going to get before that first game comes around. I try to, stay after and take one-on-one reps and just have the D-line guy beat me a few times just so I can feel what an actual game rep feels like. And I kind of learned that helps me kind of get ready for the season. So, but that's good. It sounds like you've got some good guys around you. Cal, I enjoyed talking to him a couple times. We played them this year, and then Cheeseman, obviously, we had him on the podcast. He's a good kid, friend of the pod. That's right. He's a good kid.
So I want to take a quick step back for a second. How did you get into long snapping in the first place? I think we all kind of have our weird roundabout ways of finding ourselves looking at the punter, upside down between our legs. We're curious what your story is.
Mine started super young, but I didn't start snapping for a while. Like, all through, like Pop Warner and middle school football, I say I was too tall to be coordinated. I was 100 pounds and 6 foot tall and couldn't do anything with my arms. So they're like, where can this kid mess up the least? And they put me at center. And so I would kind of throw the ball and put my arms out, and people would run into my arms, and just kind of got pushed up through, even all the way through 8th grade as a center. And then in middle school, they said, hey, you're the center. We need you to do the snapping thing too. And I was horrible, as we all were starting out. And then coming to high school, I'm like, all right, well, let me try to do this a little better. Unlike y'all, I had no idea you could even go to college as a strictly long snapper until my senior year of high school. And so looking forward into like going to college, I'm like, well, I'm a mediocre tight end and D end in high school. I'm not playing there. And so
welcome to the club, dude.
Yeah. That's the story of a lot of us, huh? So I was a huge tennis guy. Played tennis a whole bunch. Was really good, trained really hard. So I actually stopped playing football my junior year of high school to focus full time on tennis. Yeah. And I fully stopped. Didn't play my junior season, full tennis, traveling the country playing. Wasn't until I left my little part of Florida that I realized there's a lot better tennis players out there than me, and I'm not going to college for that either. So I better go back and try football out again. And then, learned then that long snapping in college was a thing, and just kind of finagled my way into a spot at UCF. Yeah.
Were you on scholar? Did they offer you scholarship out of high school, or how did that work?
No, I walked on, preferred walk on, and then after my first season starting, which was 2019, I sat on the bench 2 years, started 2019, and then Christmas of 2019, I got scholarship.
That's awesome.
Nice.
And I was on the team that played Blake in the Fiesta Bowl.
Let's go.
You definitely don't remember, but you were walking through the tunnel one time, and I grabbed you and like, my name's Alex Ward, and I'm a long snapper too. And like, cool, man, I gotta go get on the field. Nice to meet you.
So you got to hang out with old Mac
classic.
Loudermilk, huh?
Yes, sir.
That's one of my favorite dudes I've ever like played against. That dude's when he had like the beard and the hair, and he was like that dude.
Did he pull any of his celebrations into y'all?
I don't even remember, but I definitely remember like him being on the scouting report as like a personality guy. Like he's like, Reed, do you know who we're talking about? The punter?
I know the name. I don't know
he
know
had
his
like
face.
long hair, and I'm sure Alex can talk about, his
big old Mac milk
antics or whatever you want to call them, but he definitely had like some juice to him. I would say like kind of Pat McAfee-esque, like just sort of celebrations and stuff. He was kind of funny, but
absolutely was.
Yeah. So what are some lessons that you've learned throughout your college career, moving into the NFL? Obviously there's different hurdles along the way, different pieces of adversity that you might find yourself in. I remember my second year starting at LSU, I was like having just the most backwards season I've ever had, and just like was like, I don't even know how to snap a football anymore. And had to fight through it. Have you had, moments of adversity, and what were some of those lessons that you learned?
I'm gonna knock on wood right now. I've never had like a real slump on the field.
Good.
I've been able to, analyze and pick apart what I'm doing wrong, and kind of sniff it out before it gets too bad. But the biggest adversity I've had was off the field. I was a mechanical engineering major and held a 2-year internship as well at the same time. So my first season starting 2019 I was driving 40 minutes to my internship. That was 15 hours a week, and plus on top of football. And then it got really a lot. I got really sleep deprived, and so that was hard to balance all that together. But that what I learned from that is take it one day at a time. Every storm runs out of rain, and sure enough, the semester was over and the season was over, and I had a lot more time and got a lot more sleep.
Nice.
I know you were correct me if I'm wrong, I saw you were a 6th year guy.
Correct.
So did you get a COVID year?
Yes. I
So what
2017 and got the COVID year from 2020.
Gotcha. So what prompted you? Did you go back for the COVID year last year just because you wanted to get an extra year under your belt, or what was kind of tell us about that decision?
That's a great question. One's hard to answer. It seemed just kind of, it wasn't a fully logical decision, but it wasn't illogical. I try to be pretty logical and analytical through pretty much everything I do. And so obviously
definitely not the engineer in you doing that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no way. But so I had my neat little pros and cons list, and it was pretty hefty. The only bad situation I got into, what it really boiled down to, was The only bad situation is if I declared last year, didn't get picked up, and gave up a year of free schooling, free food, football, and friends and whatever else comes with a scholarship in college football, just to give it a shot 1 year before I had to. So I couldn't come up with a reason to, overshadow that one of why to declare. But looking back, I should have. I'm confident I could have made a team last year and all that jazz. But definitely don't regret it. Had a great time this past year at UCF and was able to be a pretty prominent leader on our team and help a lot of guys get a lot better at football.
So safe to say you don't regret it.
Correct.
That's great. I think it's we all have life decisions, a few big life decisions, especially by the time that you're in your early to mid 20s. Looking back without regret, I think is something that a lot of people maybe take for granted sometimes.
It was what I decided to do, and no point in regretting it.
Yep. Okay, so back to this weekend coming up. Obviously, the draft starts Thursday. This episode is going to air. We're going to push it out Thursday morning. I believe definitely all the snappers that have been taken on Saturday.
Let's get you taken on Friday. Like, how about that? Like
I'm trying my best.
Hopefully this podcast is like the thing that gets Alex drafted on a Friday in the NFL draft. Like that would be.
GM is listening after the snap. Hey, this guy's pretty good. I don't even need to see him snap. He talks well. We're gonna take him early.
Come on, man.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's what we're trying to do here.
That's right.
So what's your looking ahead to Saturday or Friday? What's your plan for watching the draft? Are you doing like a draft party? Are you doing
I am.
family, some friends? Kind of tell us what you got this weekend.
Keeping it pretty small and close to our chest, but we actually were able to use our like club level of the tower in the stadium, give us a really nice view while we're doing it. But we're talking 35 people that have been really influential, and 11 of them are specialists. Sit there from noon till 7 and watch the draft, and when my boys that I know get called, hoop and holler and wait for the phone to ring.
That's awesome. That's going to be a great time.
Hope so.
All right, Alex, you are sitting in front of ex-GM. What are your top 2 to 3 selling points for Alex Ward to an NFL team? And I know that you've answered this question a gazillion times, along with some of the other questions that we probably asked you on this pod, like adversity and whatever else. But what are your top 2 to 3 selling points? What's your elevator pitch?
Yeah, I'm so bad at this.
I am too.
It's not natural for anybody. So
yeah, fundamentally against bragging. It just feels so much like bragging.
Yeah.
But apart from letting the GM sleep easy, knowing he's got a good snapper for the next 15 years, that'd be one. And then just I think I approach it analytically, even maybe a little more analytically than a lot of guys. Like I calendar, but I told you earlier my goals are in the front of my binder. My binder's pages where I chart every snap I've snapped in practice and game for the last 3 years. And so it's all there. I can look back on it. I can see trends in myself and all of that. And I developed it all myself to use. And so to pitch myself, I don't know. You'd have to wait and see, but you're not going to be disappointed.
I think that's great. You hit on it a little bit ago. This is a non-football related question. You said you played golf with Charlie recently. Are you an avid golfer? Are you a sometimes golfer?
I'm a determined amateur golfer. Very,
Nice.
very recreational, but determined to play well.
Okay. I'm
He's
gonna
a-
that's how I'm gonna start describing myself. I'm determined to get better.
You
So
set
you're always
expectations
on the
low, but
you're always
you
on the
want
upswing.
to. That's right.
What is do you have a handicap?
Yeah, we can say it's two, just too many,
Too many. That's right.
too high, if you will.
That's awesome.
I don't actually know. Probably. I mean, I played yesterday and shot a 90, so not
Wow.
not horrible golf, but not stellar. So, I really hope that wherever I go, I'm near Bryce Behringer. He's like the top punter in this draft, and so if we both go to LA, it'd be great. But he's a +1 handicap. Like,
No
dude's a
kidding.
sharpshooter. So
Wow.
Holy cow.
I hope I'm close to Bryce and we go play a lot of golf.
Yeah. Push you to be better, right?
That's incredible.
Exactly.
He might. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever heard anybody in the NFL being a plus.
Yeah. He chose between college football and college golf.
I was gonna say he had to. There's no way he wasn't being approached by his college team saying, "Hey, we want you to come play golf for us."
Yeah. Yeah, his story is crazy. Y'all should get him on too.
Last question before Reed wraps this up. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
What's it like to have the best birthday that there is?
We twins?
Let's go.
Birthday bros.
That's right. That's right. What'd you do for your birthday?
Actually, so my sister got married on the 22nd.
Okay.
So
you're at a rehearsal dinner for your birthday.
Exactly. I got to go home. I was around
How rude.
family, and it wasn't about me. Best birthday I've ever had.
That's awesome. That's
kind
of how long
cake or something out of it.
Yeah, my uncle's birthday is today, and so we did a cake yesterday or the day before. I don't know. Right, we did a cake the 23rd.
Hey man, you can't get any of the attention around here. It's like sister's wedding and your uncle's birthday, and give the man some of the attention he deserves.
Hey, I get it on Saturday.
That's that's very long snapper of you to just like fly under the radar and like and sort of deflect all the attention to everybody else.
What made your sister pick the 22nd of all days?
So she's always wanted a spring wedding.
Okay.
I'm talking always.
On a Saturday.
And so her new husband's dad is an accountant. And so you can't make it before April 18th because he's swamped.
Taxes.
And then we knew the draft was April 29th. And so if I'm leaving a week after the 29th and he's busy before the 18th, you only have 1 weekend in the middle. Yeah. And so she's like, all right. And plus it's really, kind of nice. They're big plant conservationist people, and they got married on Earth Day.
Wow.
Just winning.
So you sacrificed for your family. That's great.
I'm happy to do it.
That's great. That's fantastic. Well, that's all we got for you. Thanks for hopping on with us. You answered fantastic. And I feel like anybody that sees this is going to want to draft you on a Friday.
On Friday.
Let's go. Friday.
Let's do it.
Yes.
Friday snap. Hashtag Friday snappers for the draft.
Yes. There we go.
I'd love to see it. But anyway, so thanks for stopping by. Speaking for Blake as well, we appreciate the time you gave us. So best of luck this weekend. We'll be in touch, keeping up with you. We're obviously we'll have all eyes on Saturday as well.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here. Always dreamed of it.
We want to thank Tecovas Western Apparel and Cowboy Boots for sponsoring today's podcast. Again, you can find them at tecovas.com and on social media at Tecovas. Well, a big thanks to Alex for coming on the podcast this week. It has been such a great time being back in front of the microphone. Looking forward to some great interviews this spring and summer coming up. And again, best of luck to Alex this weekend. Obviously, we will be paying attention. Hopefully, y'all will as well. Starting Thursday, this will be coming out Thursday morning. So starting tonight and all the way through Saturday afternoon. So thanks again to Alex. As always, you can follow us on social media at After the Snap Pod on Instagram, Twitter, and on you can subscribe to us on YouTube and on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And I believe that is all that we have this week. That is a wrap on After the Snap.
That's all I got.
This has been After the Snap, tales from two brothers who live life upside down.